Okay, hi everyone. It's time to start this session. I hope you had a refill with some coffee and maybe some other fika out there. I have promised you to give you some keys today to unlocking the potential of UX design. And it's nice to see so many people here. That should mean or indicate that this is a relevant subject for people. So I'm glad that all of you are here. And I'm going to try my best to give you spot-on keys that you can bring with you from this session. And we are going to start this session by a small trip down my memory lane where I started. I started as a UX designer a couple of years ago, say 10 plus years ago. I had my first position at a huge company. And it's an international company, and I was fortunate enough to have a great boss, also a UX designer. And he was smart, he was supportive, and he kind of took great care of me. He took such a good care of me, so I did not struggle being a UX designer at the company. I had such great colleagues and leadership, so I felt so secure that I wanted to try something else. So about 10 years ago, I started out as a UX consultant instead. I left the safe space at that company, and I wanted to head out and see the world. And that led me into a lot of different things that has led me here today. And some of the learnings that I'm going to share with you. Because when I started as a UX design consultant, I started with just doing UX, of course, but also I discovered service design as something that I felt was super interesting. You know, the broader perspective, understanding what the user perspective is, not just within the product. And then I went on doing some mentoring to UX designers, some junior UX designers, and I felt that people were struggling. And there was something that I hadn't seen on my first job. So I started thinking about this. What is the problem? And I also started coaching a lot of companies, big companies, small companies, private, public sector, in how to work with UX design. And I keep having this thought like, why is this so hard? Why don't they understand the benefits that I feel so passionate about? Because I feel that design is a good solution for a lot of the problems, especially in product development. Why don't they feel as passionate as I do for this? Why don't they understand that? Like starting with solving the right problem and then solving the problem right. It's not that difficult, right? And this is a figure that I hope all of you has a relationship to. You know, we study this, we know how to do it. But I realized one of the parts that was one of the problems for a lot of the people that I were working with was that they had different relationships to design. And even though Steve Jobs did a great job, you know, with design being this important thing, and Nielsen Norman Group was huge at the time when I started working with this. And Mike Montero, he was out there, you know, telling people how designers ruin the world, etc. Design was out there, but people didn't know how to work with it and approach it. And it became a clash, especially for UX designers ourselves. So the first thing that I want you to remember is this. Things are not as they tell you in school. We are almost never able to do the double diamond from left to right. And in the university, we are so focused on doing this, doing the process right. You know, you always have to start with research. You have to know everything. And then you can start going from there. But reality, when you go into especially a software company, is that this is not what they are expecting from you. They might have a bad relationship to research, for example. Research is a great cost. That can be something that is not going to be beneficial for you to start with when you start as a UX designer, saying, hey, I want to learn everything. I need to go out for 6 months. See you later, you guys. They do not kind of appreciate that. So this is one of the things that I started telling the people I was mentoring. You cannot expect the world to be as they taught you. I'm so sorry. You have to be a bit more pragmatic. And how to tackle that. This is the first thing that I always start with when I mentor a UX designer. You have to get to know your environment. And with the environment, I'm meeting your teammates. Who are you working with? What are their knowledge? How can you tap into that? How can you use their strengths? Because as a UX designer, you are often, one against a bunch of other roles, right? So if you can tap into their strengths and use that instead of focusing on you being the sole provider for this information, it's going to be so much easier for you. So use what is available to you, the people, the tools, etc. Try to not fit in 100%. I mean, you have to also stand your ground, but see where you're at when you start this and build the trust. Even though design has been around and, Steve Jobs, etc., people know about it, there's a lot of companies who still don't have trust in design. And designers, they might know they need to get one, but not how to use the UX designer or what this person is going to be there for and to do in the team. So if you can't build trust, it doesn't come automatically because they don't feel passionate about the double diamond. If they did, they would just let you go. But a lot of people don't know about this. So build trust. That is the most important thing when you start. And the other thing that I feel, this is a question that I always ask. I always ask this when I started this assignment as a consultant. Whose business is this? Who in this company said that it was okay to spend money on me? Who's paying for this? Who thought that we should take a consultant and spend our budget on having that person here? Because that, if you know that, then you can also start to see where in the organization you might have leverage, someone believing in you. And of course, the further up in the organization that you feel that you can connect with someone who is also passionate about the customers and the end users, the easier it's going to be. It's never easy if you have like top-level managers saying this is important, but a team leader saying it's super unimportant. Of course not. But if you have someone up there who says like customer is important, and they don't even have to say that the UX design or the designer is important. They have to feel passionate that the customer, the one that is paying for this, and the end user who are using this, because, it's not always the same. They are the ones who we are here for. If you can find that person, then you know what level in the organization you can expect to have also support from. So thinking about this is one of the things that can actually help you to be able to bring that value, becoming from a UI designer perhaps to a actually full UX designer. The other thing I always ask about is who's driving this thing? And with the thing, I'm meaning the product or the services. Who is driving this? And a lot of different perspectives, people, individuals, roles can be driving a product development. It can be the end users, someone bringing in their thoughts and their, everyday life. It could be support. Are you connected? Do you tap into what they get as a feedback? Do the product owner actually care about this? Is it a salesperson that is super strong in their opinion or pushing, we need to have this to sell this? Or is it everyone together as a whole? Who is driving this? Because if it's not connected to an actual customer or end user, only being tech-driven, like this is possible, we can do this, or driven by opinions, I think this is nice, then it's gonna be, bumpy road ahead. And you as a designer, I think we underestimate this. I guess most of you has taken at least one course in how to do interviews or research or, being interested in other people, right? Yeah, some nods at least. Okay, good. Some has the idea. Yeah. You also have an audience within the company. If you are not a good storyteller and if you don't know that audience, you are going to miss the mark. It would be the same thing as doing, research and then throwing it away and then product development that misses the mark. If you do not know your audience within the company, it's hard for you to get your thoughts across to them. And if you only present what's important to you, that's not going to bring value to the others in the team. And why should they care if you can't, operate with what brings value to them? So small things. If you could turn the narrative around, think differently, instead of saying our user needs this, push on the things that brings value to this user group. Push on something like experience from the majority of our users, majority of users. That could be interesting instead of saying, I saw some do this. That is not valuable to people. And the likelihood to recommend, that is also something that is beneficial for your product. That is something the product owners want in their product, right? So by changing the way that you are presenting your research and your design, you can actually get much further with what you want. So one of the roles that I think is super important to connect to is the product or the business owner or manager. It depends a bit on different companies, but the product owner or business owner. Because this is a person that actually can help you go from doing UI design in a team to doing UX design that actually drives the product roadmap forward. If you can connect to this person and understand what pains they have, what are their current, thoughts, if you can help them to understand that there's a value that you can provide them with, then it's going to be so much easier for them to understand. Because if they have never worked with a designer in this way before, then this is something that is new to them. And we can't take for granted that they know that a UX designer does a lot of research that actually can help them with the roadmap. A lot of product owners think that the UX designer, they do research to solve the feature that they have given them. But we know that we can do a lot more than that. We can help them with what the next feature should be and what the roadmap in 5 years should be. But if you don't help them to understand that, they're not going to be able to know. So do your research. Who is the person driving this? And how can you help them understand what you can bring to the table? Because we know so much more than a lot of people think. So I am not a consultant anymore. Since this last fall, I changed. So currently, I'm a UX lead at a company called Sectra. Sectra is a Linköping-based company. We have our headquarters there. We are a global company, and we are working within medtech. So we build a software product that is targeted towards more or less every doctor that looks at something that is inside of your body. So any mammography, radiologist, ophthalmologist, there's a lot of ologists that we are working with. But our users are within healthcare, and they are super smart people that quite often do not want to use tech solutions. A lot of them, orthopedic surgeons exactly, they want to just, carve into people with big things. So we are a company that are working with people that have such high demands and so little time, super stressed. And the reason I want to talk about Sectra is because we are a company that is customer obsessed. And Sectra has been around for 25 plus years. And this is something that comes from within the culture. The founders of Sectra said, we can never do anything that is not beneficial for our end users. We should never do anything that isn't beneficial for end users. And that is not something that we just say, we actually practice it. And one of the recognitions for this is this prize that is highly valued within our sector, and it's called Best in Class. And we have won this for a lot of years now, so bragging a bit, I'm super proud of this. But we do win this for some important reasons. And Claes is an organization based in the US, and they do customer research. So they call a lot of our customers and the other vendors' customers, and they talk to them. They have qualitative research, they have quantitative research, so they sit down and talk to the customers and the end users, and they ask them. So if they have a shitty day, we're gonna hear about it. And the one with the best score wins. It's as simple as that. But they take about 30 minutes with each person that they are interviewing, and they are asking them about a lot of different things regarding our products. It can be anything from how was the go-live process to how is your education and training, and how is the UI working for you, and how much time do you spend? Are you happy with what they do for you? Are you happy with the new features? There's a lot of things for us to work with. But I'm so glad that they do this, because this gives me so much information. As a UX designer, this is my dream, because they also do a deep dive where we get to see a lot of the information from their research. So they present this to us. So we have a chance to become better and see what we're good at. And that is why I think Claes is a good way of driving our business forward, because they help us to see where we're good, help us to see where we can become better. And to continue doing that, we have within our company a rule that everyone at Sectra, and I mean everyone, the one working in the reception desk and the developers, everyone has to meet customers at least once a year. If you wanna, be able to negotiate your salary, etc. Otherwise, it's fine, you can just stay in your seat. But if you wanna be able to do that, you have to go to at least one customer visit each year. And that is not just, popping in and popping out. It's at least half a day. So everyone, independent of where they are in the organization, has been at a hospital. They have seen an end user when they are working with our products. So everyone knows. And this helps me so much. Because when I, as a UX designer, come there and say, yeah, I saw this and this, people can relate. Because they have seen the workstations. They know how many screens a radiologist have, for example. What is the setting on their desks? What is their, basic workday? What do they do? And it's so much easier to talk about it then. And we also try to put things up in our office, talking about what's important. This is not my picture, as you can see, and I want to emphasize on that. If you feel like you want to have more leverage in your organization, this is something that you need to understand. The stages of UX maturity. And with the questions I gave you earlier, that is a great start to understand where you are currently on this. There's a lot of good information on their website. I encourage you to read up on it, because it's also, there's a form you can fill in and try where are we at? But there's also a lot of good information on how can you get to the next step if you are stuck somewhere. What is important steps to go forward in your UX maturity? So try to find out where are you standing right now and how did you get there? Because it's important for the rest of the journey, growing in maturity. And do not forget to show them the value that you bring to the table, because a lot of people don't know that. They just know that they needed a UX designer because someone said so. Because, it's important with design. People know that, but not how to use that. So, be agile in your process. The double diamond is great. I don't say anything else than that, but be agile and work with your organization, not against it. And work with expectation management, both your own. If you see that you are finding yourself at a lower stage than you want to be, expectation management. Find out what you can do, and is there actually a will in your organization to move this along? Because if not, maybe you should be the one moving along. It can be super hard otherwise. If they don't want to, grow, then it's hard to push them. And focus on the value. I hope that this has led you to some new insights and that you are continuing your journey, perhaps next week or the week to come, to find your way in this maturity, because I think it's a lot for us to take in, but we need to understand the value we bring to the business to be able to do real UX. Thank you so much.